The San Diego Opera announced yesterday that it will shut down next month after its last performance of Don Quixote, which opens April 5th. The opera's longtime artistic director, general manager, and CEO, Ian Campbell, joined me with more on why they came to this decision. Ian Campbell, welcome.
Glad to be with you.
Now, after 50 years of operation, why is the opera closing next month?
The problem with opera is it's labor intensive. It takes an awful lot of money to run. And although the company has balanced its budget for 28 consecutive years, looking down the track, we knew that subscriptions had dropped, we knew that single ticket sales had dropped, we knew that donors had reduced their contributions, and the money needed to close the income gap between expenses and box office was not going to be there. We didn't have big enough contributions.
In the yearly budget, I understand the annual budget is about $15 million. What would it take to keep the opera open now?
Just to make sure we could finish the 50th anniversary next season, we'd need about $10 million in total contributions. We would have some that we could rely on, but there's still a gap of at least 5. To keep it running forever, we would need that kind of money every year, and therefore we would need a substantial endowment, and we would also need a lot of reliable donors and increased ticket sales. As I say, they've been dropping.
I understand there was a $10 million Joan Kroc endowment fund for the opera that was received about a decade ago. What happened to that money?
Well, it was actually more than a decade, and the answer is it was spent as Joan instructed. Some people think that that was meant to be a worshipful amount of money. Joan gave it to us and said, spend it on high-quality art, and I expect it to be gone in 3 or 4 years. Well, it lasted more than 10. Because we were so successful, we didn't have to touch it. As we move forward, though, to maintain the quality, we had to use it. But I repeat, it's what Joan intended and her attorneys intended when it was given.
Irwin and Joan Jacobs got the San Diego Symphony out of bankruptcy with a $120 million gift. Are you hoping that there's some major donors like them in San Diego who will do the same thing for the opera?
It would be wonderful if there were. We've approached many people who could help us, but these are generous donors who give so much to the community at large, and it is their money. They can decide where they put it, and I give money to things I'm passionate about, and it just is a decision they have made, the people we've approached, that they're not going to give that kind of money to the opera, and we have asked. It's important to know that we knew this problem was coming 3 years ago, and through that period we've asked everybody to assist us, and many have, including the Jacobs family. They have been very generous to us, but the income gap is too wide.
Questions are going to be raised, I'm sure, about your salary and how the opera spends its money. What have you done in the past few months and past years, for that matter, to bring down administrative cost?
Well, the total cost of the company in 2007 was $17.4 million. The budget this year will close under $15 million. So those cuts were made. We reduced the number of operas, we reduced the number of performances. We also, unfortunately, let some staff go about a year ago. We've done everything we can to lower expenses, and it's been lowered, but at the same time, revenue has gone down. It's a revenue issue, it's not an expense issue, and the revenue isn't large enough.
And what would you say that revenue, what's the source of that revenue that's been depleted then? Is it because of the recession? Is it because less people are coming to the opera?
Our only sources of revenue really are ticket sales and contributions. Our government contributions are very low because that's the nature of America. So we're dependent on individuals, and they have to do both things, buy and contribute. Since the recession, everything has gone down. We lost about $3 million in reliable donors over a 2-year period, and that money has not been replaced. And people have felt that money is tight, so they reduce their ticket buying, and they haven't come back on board. So I think the recession played a very major role in destabilizing the future.
Well, I know you've said that this is not a last-minute crisis, and since there's no debt, why not try to keep it open while you're looking for more revenue sources?
Because it costs too much to keep it open. We are labor intensive, and in order to keep going, we need an income stream, and our income stream really dries up pretty well after April and May of each year. But it's looking down the track, knowing what we need to finish the season. It's not just a matter of getting there, it's finishing it. And if we proceeded, we may well go into bankruptcy. In fact, we would go into bankruptcy. What we're trying to do is wind down with dignity and make sure that we go out without having taken box office that we can't refund. It's the most honest thing to do.
Okay, Artistic Director and CEO, San Diego Opera, Ian Campbell, thank you so much.
Thank you.